Is it live? Yes, that's 1 second. Hello, everybody. As some of you will probably remember or know, I've just completed the Cancer Research UK 100 push-ups a day challenge. And during the challenge, I thought, or should I say, I realized that it didn't turn out quite as I expected. You see, I thought, 30 days, I'll easily be able to do it. It's only 100 a day. So I signed up. I signed up on a invitation that was on, I think it was Facebook or Instagram or something. I don't think it was an email. And I thought, yeah, easy peasy, just get on with it, do a bit at a time, off we go. And then as I was getting closer to the date when I was going to start, I thought, well, I'll just check, see how many I can do. Because I thought, I'll try and do 100 in one go by the end of the challenge. That's when I signed up in the first place, before I tried it out. And the first day I tried it out, as I was approaching, coming up to the challenge day, I did 7, and I thought, this is going to be a bit more difficult than I thought it was going to be. And that's the way it always happens with things. You often will overestimate how much you can actually do. So if you're setting a schedule, if you're setting up a new project, you're looking at how you can achieve something. Maybe it's a new site set up, or it's getting a new product to market, developing a new product, getting the formulation right, doing a bit of validation, whatever it might be, even just basic testing. Often you'll find that it takes longer than you expect, or it's a bit harder than you expect, or there's some more details that you needed to know that you weren't aware of. And I find that, of course, at the beginning. So 7's a long way off 100. Thankfully, I did manage to do 100 push-ups every single day. But I thought, at the beginning, I thought, the 150 target, I'm going to be a bit of a stretch. I'm not sure if I'll ever make that, but I can always make it up myself, I thought. And then first 3 days came up, and I think I got contributions of about 50, 60 pounds from several people I'd never met, just knew them online. And then I got some from people I knew as well, of course. And I thought, this is interesting. And what was more interesting was people were watching. And all I was doing there was sitting there doing push-ups. I thought, well, why are people watching? Now, at the moment, I've got my company background on instead. Because that's how I normally appear on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on YouTube. I normally represent my company, because paul-r-palme Limited, well, you can probably guess, it's my company. I'm paul-r-palme. It's quite easy, isn't it? So that was the first thing. You actually feel that you can get more done than you can achieve. Second thing, people were more interested than I thought they would be, and I didn't understand why. And then I started adding a bit of context, talking about my wife and her cancer, and I got some questions. And people were making comments. I don't think I got any shares, but I got comments, and I got likes and ticks and whatever else it is that you get on the different platforms. Because I didn't think anybody'd be interested. Not enough to watch when I was spending 10 minutes doing 100 press-ups, because I had to do gaps in between. So that was a good thing to learn. And then as I was getting going, I was increasing the number I was doing in one set. So I was doing them in sets right from the beginning, throughout 2 sessions right at the beginning, I think it was, or 3 sessions at the beginning. I thought, I'm building it up, I'm doing more, see how much I can do. And then on the 16th, so 1,600 into it, I got a bit of over-ambitious. And I thought, I can do loads. I can do a whole lot in one go. But unfortunately, rather than concentrating on what I was doing and making sure I was doing it right in the first place, which you should always do, you should always set your procedure, set your spec, make sure you've been doing your training, so that you can manufacture your product correctly. So what happened, instead of thinking, oh, get the form right, make sure my back's straight, make sure I pull my stomach in to get the core strong, do the straight push up and down. Well, no, I didn't do any of that. I just thought, oh, go for it, see how many I can do. And I was aiming for 30. But I was doing the wide push-ups. I don't know if you know what I mean, but when you spread your arms wide instead of having them narrow at your sides. Because I was learning style, I was learning technique. I was creating a methodology to be able to do the 100 in one go. Which honestly, I only did it in a session. I didn't do it in 100 in a set. Highest I got to was 40, 45. I think that was on day 28. But what happened? Well, I did it wrong. I did the methodology wrong. I pushed up, but as I was lifting off the ground, I was arching like that. I was arching my back. By the time I got to, I think 25, 30, maybe around 20, I was feeling it in my back and I was holding it straighter. But it was too late. I'd already hurt my back. I'd already failed the method, done it wrong. And in theory, if you were doing that in a manufacturing or in QC test lab, you'd be starting again, wouldn't you? So I got through the day, got to the end of the day, backache all day, of course, and was worried about how I was going to do the next day. So what did I do the next day? I took my corrective action. I suppose I was doing my immediate corrective action at the end on the first day when I was doing the sets in the afternoon. My preventative action was I started at the top instead of at the bottom. So I started at the top in hands and knees, not cat and cow position. I was flat back, which I can't remember what the name of that is in Pilates. Put my legs back onto my toes and just did the press up from the top down. And actually, it worked for the rest. So from day 17 all the way through to 30, I used that same approach. Start at the top, go down instead of going up. But I did another thing. So one of the things that you always have to think about first when you're doing your preventative action is risk assessment, thinking about it. When you're doing the risk assessment, how can I make sure I don't do this failure again? Is can I eliminate the error? So how did I eliminate the error? Does anybody know? I can't actually see any comments yet. So I eliminated the error by not doing the wide press up, the wide push up. So by starting at the top, only doing narrow push-ups, only keeping my my elbows didn't necessarily stay straight to my body all the time, but I eliminated the failure. So I didn't get the same problem with my back again throughout the whole of the rest of the exercise, all the way to the end, which is realistic, it's reasonable. If you do something wrong and it causes a failure, it causes pain, it causes a product failure, it causes a test to go wrong, get rid of it. Whatever the problem was, get rid of it first. Now, I don't necessarily mean get rid of the employee that did the job wrong. What I mean is think about the system that you've got in place, the methodology you're using. What can you change to make sure that actually is not even possible anymore? So that's what I did. So the next thing I learned was feedback. I actually achieved more and got more consistency and found it easier, more motivated when I was getting feedback. There's people there. I could see them on the live on the little. It's a little eye symbol that tells me that there's people watching. And I thought, if they're watching, I'm really going to have to get on with it and do it. And even though I was around day 8, I was thinking, I really don't want to do this anymore. I still got all the way to the end. Why did I get all the way to the end? Because I was getting feedback. I was getting positive reinforcement. People telling me that they were proud of me, that I was doing so well. And interestingly, I got that throughout all the way to the end, which motivated me to keep going. And instead of getting the initial payments, I kept raising money all the way throughout, all the way to the end of the challenge. Now, of course, the fundraising hasn't stopped. Cancer Research UK have already said, please share your link. So I'm sharing it again today. Now, I hope you find the learnings from the challenge that I've been doing interesting or useful. And maybe you can apply them to your own practice, to your own activities, to your own fundraising. Either way, thank you for watching. This is what I learned from the Cancer Research UK challenge. Actually, I missed one. Strength, response time. Your body responds faster than you expect it to. When you implement a change, you get a response quicker than you expect it to, and it's not always the one you want. The muscles just here were painful straight away, right onto the next day. But if you implement change in your business, then often you'll get feedback straight away, a lot faster than you might think sometimes when people don't want to do it. It's quite rare that you'll get fast positive feedback, but usually you'll get the negative, the people that don't want to change, that are used to it, that are stuck in the ways, you might say, but they've got the routines and they find it easy. Even if it's something that's more efficient for the business, they're often going to try and do their own thing, continue doing it their way, because that's what they know. They don't mind that they spend all day doing it. They're getting paid for it. So that's something to bear in mind. Responsiveness. And then you have to encourage people to get into it, to get started. Why would I want to do this? Well, because of this. But then you break it down. Whatever activity that you want them to do, break it down into small chunks, and you'll actually find that you achieve more compliance. What I mean by that is people will actually do what you want them to do. So that's it for me for today. It's Paul Palmer, and I'll see you again soon.